Tori?
The city of Bakersfield hit with a lawsuit claiming they violated the Brown Act. We'll have details on a judge's ruling. Allison?
And you can expect dry conditions as we head into the weekend, but we will be seeing an increase in winds in the mountains. I have more details on a wind advisory when 23 ABC News at 5 starts right now.
Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News at 5 starts now.
Good evening. A state watchdog advocacy group says your tax dollars were tainted following a ruling by a Kern County judge stating city officials broke the law when they discussed Measure In behind closed doors. 23 ABC's Tori Cooper joins us live from City Hall in downtown Bakersfield. She spoke to the watchdog group and has more on how your tax dollars are being used to pay for this lawsuit and what advocates say was discussed without you knowing. Tori?
Yeah, city council members chose not to discuss the full picture surrounding key financial issues plaguing the city of Bakersfield in front of Kern County voters. But rather, a Kern County Superior Court judge says they chose to speak about these topics in secrecy prior to your vote on Measure N in 2018. That judge now ordering city officials to pay for not providing sufficient information to voters. You may remember back in 2018, there was a series of city meetings pertaining to where your tax dollars were going to be spent.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
During these meetings, city officials outlined a ballot measure known as Measure N. It was described to voters as a new 1-cent sales tax increase within the city limits of Bakersfield, projected to yield $50 million annually for the city to spend on public safety programs, jobs, the homelessness issue, and other key spending priorities voters cared about, and eventually voted yes on in December of 2018. But Kern County Judge Schuett says city officials discussed a wide range of matters surrounding city budget, potential staffing cuts, tax increases, and Measure N legislation matters in secrecy during closed session meetings without the public's knowledge, violating the Brown Act. The Brown Act guarantees the public a right to attend and participate in meetings of local legislative bodies like the Bakersfield City Council. Watchdog advocacy groups First Amendment Coalition and Californians Aware tipped off by community members about the illegal meetings held by council. They say were disguised under agenda items described as anticipated litigation discussions required to take place in closed session.
There's supposed to be some discussion either on the agenda or at the meeting of the facts and circumstances leading you to believe you're going to be sued. But none of that was on any of the agendas.
But attorney Kelly Aviles, who filed and won the newest lawsuit against the city, says the city couldn't prove there were reasons to believe they were going to be sued for Measure N and in turn needed a closed-door litigation meeting. She says officials also refused to provide documentation from those closed session meetings. Judge Schuett pointing out information presented in those meetings included 3 sets of slides containing information and key facts taxpayers were entitled to know about before they voted. The judge now saying the city must turn over documents and pay for the attorney's fees acquired within this dispute, meaning taxpayers may have just got hit with another bill to pay.
The people should have been involved from the beginning, and the city decided that they weren't going to let them be, that they wanted to sit in closed doors illegally and decide how things should happen, how they should deal with the budget issues in the city.
City officials declined to comment, and the city attorney did not respond back about how this ruling will now impact taxpayer dollars or how Measure N will now look moving forward for voters. Now, advocacy attorneys say they are still unsure about what's next for Measure N, but they do say this could lead to more questions from community members about what may be discussed behind closed doors without them in the future. And as you just heard, city officials are still unwilling to provide further information about what's next for taxpayer money, Measure N, and of course how they plan to pay for attorney fees. But for now, live in Central Bakersfield, I'm Tori Cooper for 23 ABC News, connecting you.